Howdy chaps and chapettes, welcome back to another episode where this one's more of an update, and I realise I've been gone for a while. I did Peter's XA and I've done the tank for a while, haven't stopped, and then I went to Victoria for a while. So last week's video was my trip, which was fantastic, loved it, excellent, scored a lot of good stuff. And now we're back, trying to get back into the scheme of things, in the rhythm. So I just figure I'd show you where I'm up to and how some of the vehicles are actually travelling, because I actually haven't shown the vehicles for a while, and I'll tell you what's happening with the EJ. It's not going anywhere, my plan. Figured I'd start off with something interesting. The Pantera is back. Everybody was wondering where that went. It is back. I'm working my way around the window channels. It's bad, but it's not as bad as it could be, and because it's so low it has to be on my biggest stands possible. One thing I did while I was on my trip, well, I'll just show you this quickly actually. Despite it being chunky, I've spent quite a while trying to get this pitting out, but it's sort of like, just gonna focus like that, but it's coming out. So far the only rust is across the bottom. I'll probably still replace that anyway, and all the way across. I was doing that side and I made a piece and it annoyed me, so I made it again, but I just wanted it to be right, so I was like, it's not good enough, so I made it again. I know I'm a bit crazy like that, but we have been cleaning up around the windows. I was a bit worried that the top of the roof was utterly buggered, but there doesn't appear to be any holes in it, so we should be able to clean that up, give it a bit of a tackle, and in theory won't have to fix anything. And the side, so it's just the bottom. There's a big honking dent in the sill panel on the other side, bit of dodgy stuff there, and a couple of baby spots on it, and that's about it. I did swap my single rail and manual setup for a C4. So, and you might go, but Graham, why did you do that? Because that engine and that transmission are going to go into the tank temporarily, before that does, just so I can, well, perfectly honest, I want to power the gear, put some power, motive power to the gearbox, and see if I can help use that to, power it and clean it up. Also, I know for a fact that that engine with that transmission combo is actually enough to make those move, not at breakneck pace like that can, but it is enough to make it move, and it would make life a lot easier if that was able to move. So I've still got to get a sandwich plate, which I reckon I've got one. Got to get the transmission bolts, I've got a starter motor, torque converter, got to get some auto trans lines so I can link them into a transcooler. Looks like this was once in something with a column auto, judging by that bracket there. Looks to be in okay condition, only time will tell. I still have to get these seats to Tom at Fat Rides. I think my brother is coming down in Sydney, so coming down from Sydney in the tail part of the year, so they might hitch a ride back to him over that way, so they'll get there eventually. Just starting to find bits and pieces with this, put the fuel pump back on it, finding bolts, but I know that's a good runner, so that's going to power the tank. I'm moving my tracks around at the moment. Still a fantastic welder. Yes, this video is going to be a bit boring because it's a bit of catching up on things. Got one thing for the motor that was amongst the engine bay wiring for the tank was actually, I believe, the starter solenoid, but it looks like it's missing some bits in there, so maybe I can use a more modern one tucked inside that little box, but at least it gave me the tubing and the wiring lengths and everything like that, so that's at least another part for it. Still need a booster coil and a fuel filter system, but I did also get an oil tank for it as well, and the flange for the tail shaft. And what I'm currently doing at the moment is going through my tracks, because I have a mountain of them, and I'm going to have to replace some of these wedge bolts that are completely rusted away to nothing. Some of them are good. You'll get 3 good, 2 dead, 3 good. And then some of them over here are like the whole wedge and the cleat is rusted all the way through, and I'm just gonna have to cut that whole one off. It's sort of a bit buggered, so you get like 3 good ones, 2 that are and then you got 3 dead ones. But one thing I did pick up on my trip was, and I was very grateful for this, a stack of track cleats with wedges that are in pretty good shape. Obviously have to replace all the nuts because they don't tend to come off very easily, but the wedges are hard to get. So I've got a mountain of those, and I've got stacks of cleats on their own at the bottom of that, so that's something. I did get a turret in my travels. Also have another piece of upper hull, although I'm going to probably have to still make another one because it's a bit deformed. Under the turret is actually the firewall and the engine deck, so I do actually have to get the turret off at some point. And we have a gun ring that's going to be the temporary mount for the turret, and we have a tropical air box, air intake, which were only on Stewart's that went to like New Guinea and the Philippines and stuff like that. So that's cool. So all of this, and the trailer too, that was excellent. Although I haven't got the stuff out of the trailer, so I haven't bothered to register the trailer. Oh, and I got a bunch of these little guys which go in there, which slide up and down. And I have been working on the tank a little bit of an evening, and she's starting to look good. If you're wondering how I got that up on its tracks, it's probably best you don't ask, because I did some stuff that pushed some car jacks to their tippity top limits. Got my siren on. I'll insert a little video clip of that running in a second. Nice. Yep, so there we go, that sounds fantastic. Also got another one of the visor struts, got the hinges, so I have a full set of hinges now. Got the little stand that goes, well, literally right there, so when the lower hatch flips forward you don't lose your fingers. I have this plate currently off being well, I drew it up, it's currently off being made, along with this little piece that goes up here. It's only about that wide, goes to there, and that should be the front glacis plate complete. I have one of the rear bins, but it's a template because it's a bit rusty, and we've got a whole bunch of goodies in there, miscellaneous stuff, a fuel cover, the engine floor, so you'll see the hole in the floor of the tank, and that's the cover for it. Actually, side topic, that's the engine oil tank I picked up, and the engine mount, so I've got 2 of those now. Picked up another engine shield, fuel tank shield, but it's got a bracket on it, so it's obviously been cut in half by farmer, but the important bits are there. I've got one complete one, so that can go in at some point. Got a bit of a tail shaft, so I can, that's the gearbox end, and I can, as in the tank gearbox end, and I can join up a Falcon tail shaft, which, to be perfectly honest, looks like somebody's already done some sort of farmer-esque handiwork there. Also got a clutch rod, which has been cut and shortened, but if I recut that and join it back to how it was, that should be the right length. That's the clutch rod that runs from the front of the tank to the back. So that's an important piece. There's some of the engine bay wiring, terminal box. That's what that solenoid was attached to. Got my lower driver's door, because on this early Stuart the door doesn't actually bifold. The early ones don't, the later ones do. Got some of these. These were actually what locked the turret down actually on the original ones, but these are impossible to get, so these are replicas made of aluminium. So, and there's my top deck too, which I'll probably get 2 new ones made, because that's actually got a big honking bow all the way through it. And yeah, so it's all progressing along. You can see where the new track cleat and connectors are on. What else did I manage to get on my Travalaise? Dad is cleaning up one of the front drive sprockets, because I'll be putting a track on it shortly. Got a headlight protector to make a copy from, a couple of mufflers, a spare oil tank for a couple of fittings out of it, some track connecting tools, one of these little guys, a skid that's not rusty, which is going to replace this one, which is really shocking. It's wafer thin, if I can never get those bolts out. What else has been going on? This is just me playing with all sorts of stuff. These are the wedges. The problem is, if I ever focus, nope, it's not going to focus today. They don't come out real nice, unfortunately, and some look like this, which are just, you can't even use that. It's supposed to be holding the track on, it's not going to do it. I made my tail light brackets, so my little tail lights go there, the same as what's on a Willys Jeep, I believe. So they're nice. They're just little features that add to the tank. Just another thing you can walk past and catch your shirt on. And the driver's seat is in officially. So I got given a front seat mount. So I've got 2 originals and 2 replicas, which make 2 complete seat frames effectively. So that's the driver's position. I've still got to put the pedals in, which I haven't done yet. Still freeing up the gearbox. First gear now works, which it didn't before. So if you have a seized gearbox or something that you'd really like to function again, drown it in diesel fuel. It is incredible. This gearbox and diff was all lock solid, and now it all turns almost completely freely too. And this was something I was quite proud of. I have bolts through here. They've got a bolt on the other end, but I had my fake rivet heads drilled through them, got the bolt, cut the top off the bolt, shoved it through, welded it up, and then put it in there, and it looks like it's a rivet, but it's actually a bolt head with a stupidly strong bolt. And I got some more of these so I can come along and weld up the ends of those so they look like rivets as well, because all of these are fake. So that's pretty good. The mob around the corner called Dinky Die Engineering made those. That's an original one, and that's a replica. It's the only way to take it is a bit smoother. So it's all progressing along rather well. Very happy, because this was cut in half through here when I got it. So this piece is new. The EJ, now I'll talk about that for a bit. Now it's one rust repair away from being a rust-free body shell, which I will probably do very shortly. So one of the things I might actually do is I might go by the right hand rear door skin and do a video on that, fitting it, and I'll fit the right hand rear dog leg, which will finish off the rust repairs on the body shell, and then I can fit the rear doors and work my way forward. The problem is the door skins are so astronomically expensive. It's what sort of slowed me down, but I think I should finish that one rust repair on this body shell and have it finished. and then I can start doing some of the body work and making it pretty. But what I wanted to do before I switched back to this is I actually wanted to complete the hull of this, because I'm only probably 5 bits of plate steel away from this being a complete sort of tank, to the point where it looks like a tank. So I'd really like this to be sitting there looking like a tank, maybe not powered yet, before I switch back to this. I sort of want to finish one task before going on to the next. Ironically, yes, I should have finished this before doing this, but considering what that looked like, I had to do it. And well, it's a dream vehicle, so of course I was going to finish it, or at least get into it. And honestly, it's starting to look really, really good. But I do know that this is lingering in the background. This actually needs to happen as well. So I'll get back into this, and I want to finish this. These are my 2 projects. 2 is more than enough, and I've got to get some more stuff zinc plated for the front of this thing too. But it's all progressing along, and yeah, I'll probably will do a door skin and a dog leg video on this shortly to appease the Holden lovers. So that's that. What I might do is I might now just do some light filming of mucking around with these tracks, because I'd like to get well, ideally I'd like to get a track on this vehicle, but of course I can't because that's not cleaned up and finished yet. But I'd like to get it, maybe another piece on the back, or maybe 2 pieces or something, and have it pulled up and over, and maybe ratchet strapped to that front skid, so it, you know, starting to resemble a tank. I don't know, I'm just going to play it by ear. I'll keep you updated, but what I've got to do first is get these 2, if there's anything left of them, the 2 nuts off, and replace the wedges probably, because I think they're going to be stuffed. And then that is actually a complete piece of track. That looks pretty good. That can go straight on. So I'm going to do that, and I'll catch up as I travel along. It's funny about tank restorations, or any restorations really, it's not that it's difficult. Well, actually tank restoration is easier than car, by the way. My humble opinion. It's not that it's a massive task, it's actually more like thousands of small tasks, and each one take way longer than you could ever think possible. So one of the small tasks is this kind of stuff, where you have to make sure your tracks are alright. Now, I couldn't get the nuts off to save my life. I ended up cutting the heads off because they were stuffed, and then one punched out, and then I had to actually oxy one of the wedges in half to get it out. So now I could put 2 good wedges in, and then we have a lovely piece of track to go onto the back of the vehicle. One horrifying thing was the size of the spider that decided, "Hey, what are you doing at my home? Get out!" and chased me down the street. No, I stopped him. I gave him the Graham diet, and I made him real thin real fast. Only side effect, slightly fatal. But yes, there was a pretty nasty spider come running out and chased me, and I was like, ah! But got it, put 2 wedges in, just drag it up the back and put it on the tank. It's pretty good. That's a really good piece actually, but that's just what it is, just heaps and heaps of tasks. So when I say wedges, I mean these little guys over here. Here is one I prepared earlier. I run a tap down them as well, or a die, whatever you want to call it. So I've got a stack of those that I've got ready to go. Hopefully there's enough to do 1 full track, depending on how many bits of nice track I've got. But do those 2, drag it up, and I'll catch you up. You know, sometimes the answer will scare you, so it's best not to ask the question. If you're wondering how the hell I got these 2 bits of track on, just use your imagination. But I figured, you never know, there might be people out there who want to know on how these tracks go together. So you've got, I'll start over here, when you got your basic track, it's just a block, vulcanized rubber with some pins through it. Actually, if you get down to the nitty gritties of it, that's what the pins look like. They're inside the rubber, just 2 rods with some notches in them, and that's inside a little guy there, and then there's vulcanized rubber pads on them. And then you got these things, you might notice there's a little notch in there you get over here, after you smack on one of your cleats or track connectors, whatever you want to call them, it looks a bit like that. You get one of your wedge bolts, and I think it goes that way. Goes in there, smack the living snot out of it in there as hard as you can, like it's somebody who owed you money, and then you do up the nut on the other side, and that's how your tracks are connected. So I've just done it here. This is which piece? This piece is another piece of track that I was able to save. I was actually able to save all the wedges, but I had to replace 6 nuts on it, so you know, it is what it is. Make and do what you got, as I used to say. Any tank parts are good parts. But we've got to get 66 pads together, and I think I'm in and around 45. So basically what I was doing is roll the track up so I could get to it. I actually had to do it so I could undo those ones up in the right position, and then I rolled the track. It was up there, craned in the next piece of track, dropped it on top of the roller, dropped this guy back enough that they met up, smacked on the connector, rolled the track back a bit further, snacked on the other side, about to do it up, and I'll pull the track further up again. Or actually, probably I'll leave it where it is and do the same thing to put the next piece on. You know, roll it back, drop the track in there, connect it, and then go that way. I'd like to ideally put track going this way, but it's going to intrude into the workshop a bit too much, so as I put bits on, I'm going to do it at the back here. Eventually I'm going to run out of space, so then I will have to switch to going that way, but hopefully with another 1 or 2 bits I might be able to actually put another piece of track on here, if at all possible. But I'm just winging it. I don't have a gantry crane. One day I will. And I got very limited lifting capacity, so, and it's not a tank unless it's got tracks, and I'm putting one on. It's actually quite astonishing how tall the vehicle got when I put the tracks on it, or at least under it. So when I get a bit further, I'll give you an update. Well, to say I feel fairly accomplished is an understatement. I have 50 links on there so far. There's got to be 66, so 16 to go, 2 more bits of 8. But I'm going to have Dad during the week clean up that drive sprocket so that I can paint it all up, and on next weekend on there, and maybe next weekend I will connect the track and have half a tank. Yeah, I've actually noticed that I've got a little puddle going there. Obviously diesel is now a little bit further that way in the vehicle, but it's, yeah, starting to, when you put the tracks on now, you're starting to feel like a tank. Before it just looked like a, I don't know, you know, you're like, oh yeah, when you put a track on, whoo, now she looks like she means business. Yes, I realise that I have problems. Just unfortunate now that we've used up all of pretty much the good bits of track, and now we're dealing with also running out of replacement wedges too. I've got to actually start pulling those apart, which is fun. Getting to the point we're going to have to start replacing a lot of these wedge nuts. I am trying to save as many as I can, so I'll get there and I'll, like, say if there's one that's not too bad, I'll just leave it, but some of them I'm gingerly sanding through and then breaking the nut off in 2 pieces and seeing if the thread is still good. That way I can potentially punch it out and re-tap it and put it back in, or just put a nut on it. I was able to do that with a couple of one of those tracks back there, but the wedges that are in those ones are toasted. No coming back from them. But it's, yeah, you'll get 1, 2, 3 perfect, 1 a bit sad, a good one, and 2 bad ones. And then down here, those whole cleats and everything, they're just going to be cut off. So you got 4 good ones, 2 roasted ones, and then a good one. So I can't figure that out. But now we're starting to get to the point where the track is I've used up all my good stuff basically. So you'll go along and you got good, replace that one, good, 2 dead ones, and then dead, good, yeah, it might still be alright. I'll have to clean it, get the dirt out of it. But the one below it you got 2 dead, good, dead. You just, yeah, I'm going to be replacing a lot of the nuts. Nuts. But I know I need 16 more pieces for that one, and I think, but I remember there's actually a stack on the shelf just there too. So I'll need 2 more lengths of 8, and then the rest, fingers crossed, would be enough to do the other track. But we'll just do one at a time and play it by ear. That's my grey motor for the EJ. It'll find its way back in eventually. That being said, if I gave that a Dulux rebuild, that could actually go back in the hole. Because there's actually nothing wrong with that motor. It runs sweet. It'll be a while before I get this one running. So yeah, during the weeks I'm doing this and a bit of this and a bit of this. I don't know if I showed this, but on this here Landau, where is the old piece? Where did it go? Where'd it go, Cindy? Oh no, there it is. There it is. Here we go. If you're following my Graham's Restorations Facebook page, you would have seen this. Had all this jankiness. I actually cut off the back of that car and put a new one on. Handmade the whole back section. And did a bit of light body work and blended it all in. So this side has had a custom garage wheel arch. I handmade all the inner. I handmade that bottom corner. That's an unfortunate rare spares bottom, but it's, you know, I'm not going to do everything again, but I did tidy up how it was joined in and replace the end. And then ages ago I actually handmade this whole corner, so actually from about here all the way to, so there is all new, and it's actually looking alright. And I've done a patch in that quarter window there and had that quarter window vent blank out. I've actually done a lot of repairs to that side. This was the side that was smacked. So yeah, I can't remember which car's after the Pantera, but it might be the combi van back. I don't know, I'll have to play it by ear. But anyway, I hope you guys like this little update. Little bit of this, a little bit of that. Stay down there. Yeah, it's a bit sporadic and a lot of talking, but I hope you enjoy it. Some people do. If you didn't, it's no skin off my nose. Anyway chaps, I'll see you around.